Very good morning, it's Penuel, the Black Pen. Today's video is sponsored by the Meshack Tabudi Foundation, who will be hosting an NPO, non-profit organization, workshop in Benoni, Gauteng on the 9th of September. They welcome anyone who runs or owns an NPO, anyone who is looking to maybe recruit the right types of directors for their NPO, churches, and more importantly, people that are looking to raise funding. A lot of people have NPOs that they've registered, but they don't actually know the channels to go through in how to raise funding, whether it is from government or from the private sector. So if you're interested in learning more about how to run a better NPO, how to give back to your community, and how to make sure that you are sustainable, please visit or please go and email them. I'm going to drop their email on the bottom, and then you can attend that workshop on the 9th of September in Benoni, in Gauteng, the Meshack Tabudi Foundation that is hosting an NPO workshop. Want to get through a few things quickly. The latest episode of the Penwell Show is now out. I had a conversation with one of my mentors, Kulufelo Maponya, who is the son of Matume Maponya, the brother of the late Dr. Richard Maponya. A very powerful family, the Maponya family, in business in all respects. And it seems like the second and the third generations are doing an amazing job. So please go to the Penwell Show on YouTube and you can check out my latest conversation with Kulufelo Maponya. Secondly, I want to congratulate all the winners, all the finishers, and all the participants of the 95th Comrades Marathon. This year's Comrades Marathon was run downhill. So from Pietermaritzburg to Durban, I think about 90 kilometers or so. I think from the men's side, the top three were Tete Dijana, who's a security guard from the Northwest University, Edward Motibi, and Dan Muselakwe. That was the top three. And apparently the top five were all South Africans. So a huge shout out to all of the guys who won there. From the ladies' side, I believe the first winner was Alexandra Morozova from Russia. Second was Dominika Salmach from Poland. And then South African Adele Broedrijk came through at number 3. Very interesting because I heard there were issues and certain controversies getting some of the Russian athletes to come through and compete. As you guys know, with the Russia-Ukraine war, there are certain countries that are very funny about letting Russians into their country. There are various countries that are funny about continuing to do business with Russia. And then obviously some of the people that don't benefit or take the hits are people like athletes who may not even have any political ambitions or any standpoint on what's happening in their country, but some of them get sanctioned and they can't compete. So I just want to congratulate all the winners. I obviously want to congratulate all the finishers. It's very difficult to finish the Comrades Marathon. And then to everyone who participated. It's extremely, extremely difficult just to get to the starting line of the Comrades Marathon because you have to run a qualifying marathon within a certain period before that race. In 2015, I ran and I finished my first Comrades Marathon, which was the uprun from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. I'd qualified from the Two Oceans Ultra Marathon, 56 kilometers in Cape Town. I'd also run the Soweto Marathon, which was 42 kilometers. And I think I ran one or two other marathons and a lot of races in preparation for the Comrades Marathon back in 2015. I had one of the greatest times of my life when I looked at the support of the various runners on the race. Literally, you felt like a comrade, like there was a camaraderie, a brotherhood, a sisterhood. I had similar notions that I had when I visited the Bushfire Festival in Eswatini, where you just feel like you're in an amazing community of helpful, happy people, willing to share their liquids, willing to share some of their supplements, and constantly cheering you on. I won't even speak about the people on the side of the roads who opened their homes, hosing people down when they were hot, giving people bacon, giving people salt, giving people Coke, feeding people biscuits and bananas for potassium, and just random people that would read your name on your card at the front. Let's go, Penwell! Let's go, Penwell! So it was a very great experience. I ran it with my brother back in 2015. Because of an injury he sustained before, he unfortunately couldn't finish the race. I think he got as far as 45 kilometers out of the 90 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. But it was just pretty cool getting him to be there with me at the starting. And I don't know when I'll do it again, if I'll ever do it again. But again, congrats to everyone who won, to everyone who finished, and to everyone who participated. The second thing I want to mention is the complexity of our laws in this country, and how at some point, especially those of us who claim to be educated, those of us who claim to have voices, those of us who claim to be influential in various ways, we need to dismantle the current legal system we have because it does not serve the masses. Our legal system comes from Roman Dutch law, and in the way that it's set up, it excludes the bulk of people who do not have money, number one, the bulk of people who are undereducated or miseducated, number two, and number three, it is just not practical. We come from an African history where our laws would start at home and work their way up. What that means is that you start by trying to resolve things at home. If they don't get sorted at home, you go to the community. If they don't get resolved at the community, then you go to higher authority figures. In this country currently, the law comes from the top down. That means we have a constitution, the Constitutional Court, the Supreme Court of Appeal, and then it comes down the High Courts, the magistrates, etc. Our laws come from the top down. They still rely on Latin. They still rely on lawyers, which cost a lot of money. And they rely on people coming to court not really being able to defend themselves. And I say this because Riky passed away from suicide, I think a couple of months ago. And he left behind his life partner, Bianca Naidoo. They weren't officially, formally, legally married. And she is currently fighting now for his estate to become the executrix. There's an executor of the estate, the person that looks after the estate, making sure that the money goes to the right people, the right beneficiaries, etc. Because they were not legally married, she does not automatically qualify. And she's taken the Master of High Court in Johannesburg, she's taken the Minister of Home Affairs, Aaron Motsoaledi, to court to fight to be the executrix of the estate and to be the beneficiary. And she's given a long story of how she supported him when he was unemployed. She was housing him in a home in Bryanston that her parents had bought for her. And then she'd also left her job to make sure that she pushes his music career when it started blossoming, and how they built this mini empire together, having a Legends barbershop store, setting up Cotton Fest as a music festival, and then other business endeavors they had. At his time of death, Riky had endorsements from African Bank, I think Russian Bear. He owned a fleet of cars, I think a Ferrari, a Mercedes-Benz, etc. She had a child, a daughter from a previous marriage, but they also had a son together that they were living with in Waterfall. You know, and also the fact that some of these really sensitive matters get to be in the public domain. I don't know how moral and ethical that is for our law. For me, I realize that this country, the majority of people, I'm speaking about people that are educated with an honors and a PhD, a lot of them still don't understand how these things work. If I live with someone and I pass away, are they entitled to my assets, or should that go to my family? If I'm married to someone, how does it work? How does civil marriage work? How does customary marriage work? Do I have to pay lobolo, etc.? Riky and Bianca had not formally married. Their parents had met. They knew that they were living together. They'd been living together, I think, since 2013. They knew that they were depending on each other. Obviously, they knew about the kids, you know, but there had been no talks of ilobolo because they were modern people. They do not believe in those cultural prescriptions, so to speak. So we need to have a better understanding. We shouldn't have to be taking these matters to the court if they are clear in black and white. But clearly they're not, and it's because a lot of us are miseducated, undereducated in just how the law works. A lot of people claim to be cultural, but they don't even know how customary marriages work. Mangsen lobolile, is this my wife? Or do I need to have umshado? Must there be umabo? Mele kube khona umembeso? Must the families meet? Etc., etc., etc. Very complicated, and we need to have very, very important conversations around just dismantling our legal system so that they can be more practical for our people. Just in closing, a huge congratulations to all the winners of the South African Music Awards. Maybe I'll make another video later to speak about some of them, but a huge congrats to those guys. I believe they were over Saturday and Sunday. And then secondly, or lastly, I want to say I'm going to be giving some thoughts around Julius Malema of the EFF saying that he would rather support Paul Mashatile as an ANC leader over Cyril Ramaphosa. This is now going to be leading up to the ANC National Conference in December. Paul Mashatile is part of what's known as the Stellenbosch Mafia, with a very good friend of Julius Malema, Umzwandile Masina, who was the mayor of Ekurhuleni. He's been kicked out now by the DA. And also Lebogang Maile, who, when I last checked, I think was the MEC of Economic Development in Gauteng. Is Julius Malema trying to create a coalition of some sort with his old mates from the ANC Youth League days and from the Alex Mafia, or what political strategies are at play here? Please email the Meshack Tabudi Foundation NPO workshop on the 9th of September, and have a really blessed Monday. Love you guys very much. Don't forget to work hard. Don't forget to tell your loved ones how much you care about them, and remember to love yourself and take care of your body. Penuel the Black Pen. Cheers.